everybody. Welcome back to my talk show. Let's talk about with Richa. And today we have a beautiful guest here, Jennie Eriksen. I connected with her a few months ago, and we found the tone instantly. Thank you, Jennie, for being here, and thank you for sharing your time with us.
Thank
Please,
you so much for asking me.
yes, it's so lovely to have you here. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and tell the audience about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Like you, I'm based here in Norway, and my husband and I started a company 3 years ago. So I've been in business pretty much all my life, and as a lady of a certain age, that's been a long time. But 3 years ago, we started a business here, which we work in together, and actually, pretty much my husband and I have worked together all our married lives, which is coming up for 32 years. So we've always
Oh, oh my
supported and
God.
worked together.
Congratulations. That alone is an achievement,
Yeah,
to be in this world, to be married for 32 years. That's really good. Hard work.
yeah, yeah. It's oh gosh, I mean, what's the recipe there? Because we keep getting asked, how have you done that? But I think we're both introverts, and I think we play to our strengths very much. I think that's the secret to the longevity of actually both in a relationship and also in work, is playing to your strengths, but coming together for the important things that really count and matter, for sure.
You mentioned that you've been an entrepreneur almost all your adult life. So how did you get started in this? Where did it start? When did you start? And how did you get into it?
Well, for years I'd worked at a corporate level, and when Steve and I got married, Steve was actually one of the first UK internet service providers. So when our son was born 29 years ago, he had actually just set up a UK internet service provider, and actually won awards for it as well. So it was when, the days when we had all the clunky noise and it took forever to get going. But that was our first, if you like, our first steps into working for ourselves. And from there, we actually sold that business. And then we actually started, when we lived in the UK, a community magazine. So our strength, if you like, has always been how you champion a small business, how small businesses get clients and customers, and how you tell people what it is you do, which is what we're still doing even today. So that's literally been our goal all the way through. But the community magazine we ran, it went to 9,000 houses in the UK, and a lot of people went, oh no, not another community magazine, and these things never work. But we wanted to prove to people that with the right wording, with the right energy, with the right message, that this could be transformative to people's businesses. So people that took a chance, if you like, I don't know, I'm a hairdresser, people know what a hairdresser does. We would, say we beg to differ, and let's write something that really gets the essence of you and how you do what you do. So that was really our first, if you like, our first steps into helping small businesses. And we wrote the copy, we did use people's photos and logos and things if they wanted them used, but an awful lot of the stuff we actually wrote and created and actually delivered. So we literally walked our talk. So 9,000 houses, we pretty much delivered everything ourselves. We had a little bit of help along the way, but essentially we wanted, because that's the thing. A lot of people say, oh, these community magazines, they end up in the garbage, or they don't get delivered. And because a lot of our clients were actually people that were in that community, we wanted to prove that no, and actually it worked. So for a lot of people, it bit us in the bum a little bit. So for a lot of people, it meant that they were getting the clients and customers they wanted. But a lot of people didn't have the ability to scale. So, for example, when it came to renewal time for adverts, they would say, I'm completely maxed out. I'm booked for the next 6 months. I'm a hairdresser. I've got 20 new clients. There is only me. So that can work for a business if they're able to scale what they do, but a lot of people aren't. So it was a bit of a bit bittersweet, if you liked, but it worked so well for so many people. And
It's kind of
that's
a
what
luxury problem that, when you are booked for 6 months and you have enough clients, it sounds amazing. I mean, it must be sounding amazing for a lot of people. It's kind of a dream,
yeah.
to be booked out and say, yeah, I have clients. I can't take in more clients at this moment. I need to scale it. It's good. I mean, if you could bring that, that will be amazing. And so, that must felt like you contributing so much to the people that
Yeah, for,
in the community.
for sure. As I say, it's very much a double-edged sword, because it proved to people that with the right wording and with the right energy behind an advert, that people could gain clients. Because even today, and we can talk about that as we go on, even today, we still work with people who feel they are the best kept secret. And they don't want to be. They want clients and customers, but they don't tell people what it is they do very well. So if you think of the hairdresser concept, hairdressers are hairdressers, but what if you're a specialist in working with children, or a color specialist, or you've got some kind of speciality? And sometimes it's a bit like you have to draw that out of people. And there is an assumption, well, everybody knows what I do, but what do you do really, really well? Who do you really, really like to work with? And when you extract that information, you often find people say, I'm not very good, or I don't like working here, but here, that's the people. And so that's really, if you like, been our life's work, is really extracting from people what they do and what they do well. So
Nice, nice. And then put it into writing. That's an amazing skill.
for sure,
I can
absolutely.
definitely understand what you're saying, that a lot of people say that, okay, we provide this kind of service, but they're not able to actually describe why they are unique in that, what are their superpowers. Even though they know it, they don't know how to explain it. And
Yeah,
many people, it's more like a feeling and sensation that they understand it, but how to describe it without being bragging too much, or putting it out in word could be difficult for a lot of people, especially those who create and are artists in the field.
for sure,
Yeah,
absolutely.
amazing, amazing. So you guys have an amazing platform. I'm very excited because I just joined your platform. What would you tell my public, my audience, what kind of platforms you have created? Because a lot of people are, as you said, getting new clients, getting more visibility, and they are not the hidden secret anymore.
Mm.
So tell us about this exciting place that you have created.
So really and truly, from what I was saying to you, just a moment ago, fast forward to now, we still found that a lot of people are still the best kept secret. And when we had a bit of a global interrupt that turned up in 2020, Steve and I had very much been working in the virtual world. I'm a voiceover, so I talk for a living. I sit in a small dark room talking to myself, and I send things all over the place. And he had also been working remotely too. So when 2020 came along, a lot of people, well, how do I show up online, and how do I do my business online, and what I talk about, how do I tell people what I do? I can't go anywhere.
Mm.
We had an idea that we wanted to help and support people, not be the best kept secret. So in fact, working remotely ourselves, we wanted to put on our own events, again, in terms of helping clients, in terms of client attraction, lead generation, helping people get more clients, the way we actually did with the magazine. And when you look at running a virtual event, or any event come to that, it's a bit like, the analogy I use is a bit like herding kittens. Because if you think about popping down 6 kittens and trying to take a photograph of them, they go everywhere. It's can be disastrous. And so we wanted to simplify running a virtual event. And because my husband is a tech guy and can't be doing with all those elements, he created a system that we could use for our events. But then we had people saying that they really liked the simplicity of our events, and how did we do what we did? And that was EventRaptor. So literally the system we'd created for ourselves, we then created so other people could use it. And so the purpose of EventRaptor was for people to be able to be autonomous, for them to be able to run their own webinars and their own events and not be the best kept secret, because it's amazing to realize, and when you see it happen, it's incredible that people are not, even now, people are not aware that there literally is a whole world out there that can benefit from what it is they do, who it is they serve, what it is they do. But until we have those touch points with people, we don't realize. And in the early days when we saw that happening, that you could see that realization with people thinking, oh my goodness, women who are, I don't know, dealing with a menopause, or people who are wanting more, whatever it may be. There are people literally all over the world that would benefit from what I'm saying. And I have an opportunity to literally have a worldwide business as a result of that. So 3 years, nearly 4 years down the line, as we watch that happen, it still literally gives us goosebumps to see people joining the dots and literally growing their own communities and having global events that people from all around the world can come to.
Wow. Wow, amazing. And I wanted to ask, like, because you experienced, as you told earlier, that people didn't have the resources to scale it. They were getting too many clients, too much visibility. Have you experienced that now, even with the digital version of your platform, that when you working with people that they are not able to scale it, or is that become kind of the norm? It's easier for people to scale their business faster.
I think now, fast forward, I mean, obviously with the magazine, that was the early 2000s. So we're literally 20 years ahead. I think with technology and with systems, people more than ever are more able to scale. And quite often when people aren't considering scaling, it's sometimes there is a fear factor involved, because we think that we are the everything and we don't know how to replicate and make there to be many more of us. But of course, what we're doing when we're scaling is not that. We're actually putting systems in place. So for example, we launched last year Done For You services. When people are saying, gosh, if I go out there and I get too many clients, I can't cope. Well, that's where we or other people come in to help you write copy, to help you make things easier. That's when you might, for example, consider using a VA in your service to deal with all the system stuff. It still makes me wonder when you and I'm all for people empowering themselves and learning more, I hasten to add. But when you hear somebody who's a coach saying, well, I changed the banner on my website, I did it. It took me 8 hours to do, but I did it. For me, that's why would you? Because you could have actually asked somebody to do that for you and paid them something for what would take and made half an hour's work. You could have been coaching your clients, or you could have been carrying on writing that awesome course you want to write. So very much I hope that we help people understand that scaling doesn't necessarily mean that you have to stretch yourself further. It just means being clever enough to put those systems and people in place to help elevate your business.
Interesting. It's interesting. Yes, because I've got that. The reason why I asked is that there is this fear. What if I get so many that I'm not able to cater to? So yeah, it's interesting the way you that challenge was there 20 years ago, and we're still seeing that in a lot of people, that the fear that what if I get too many clients.
Yeah. And that actually, so you will sometimes get people say, well, it's all right for you, but I this, or it's all right for you, but I that. And sometimes it is based in fear. But what if I did this and suddenly got 6 people sign up? How would I manage? And so the fear stops them. But if you can help people understand that by embracing other help and support along the way, that's then doable. But and lots of people are now more open to that than ever before. But still you'll get people that die out. I've tried everything, I can't grow my business. And it's kind of like, that's your story. And with respect, if that's where people want to stay, no matter how much you nudge them or give them ideas, some people are just going to stay in that spot. And
that's their choice.
It's their choice. Exactly.
So tell me, what was there a specific moment where was it like change? Like you kind of pivot and you turned, like, I know you more or less in the same
Mhm.
business, and but you were doing it differently. Now you're much more online. But is there any moment you thought, okay, this is where it all changed?
I think for us, as I say, the global interrupt, as I call it, some people call it the pandemic or whatever. I think for a lot of us in the modern world, that was a pivotal moment for a lot of people.
Mm,
Because on a personal note, we didn't know if we would see people again. We didn't know how to navigate a world where we had no idea when we might be able to go out into the real. We literally had no idea. And as time went on, I'm sure a lot of people were very fearful that, and what might happen. And of course, lots of people lost their businesses as a result because they had a physical business, or they didn't have a business that they could either adapt or know how to adapt. And so for us, very much understanding that visibility is important.
mm,
As people of a certain age, when a lot of people are thinking, what does my next 5 years look like retiring? It kind of feels a little bit crazy to make yourself a startup when you're a beyond a midlifer.
mm,
But we wanted to help people understand that there literally is a whole world out there.
mm,
And so a pivotal moment was, well, this is our opportunity with our expertise to show people how to do this. And looking back, even just in the 3 short years, when we look at people in our community that have made great connections, or it's changed the trajectory of their business, it's to think that we've been a small part of that that's such a privilege. So apart from just being in the virtual world, but being in the virtual world and supporting others, I think that really has been a turning point, and not for the faint-hearted. This is still the season of sacrifice.
mm.
When people are thinking of winding down, we're very much like a young startup, and there is sacrifice whenever you start a new business. There are things that you have to put to one side, or you can enjoy less of because your focus has to be on the business. But nevertheless, still stand by it was the right thing to do.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Since you're able to change so many businesses and people's lives, it was definitely the right thing to do. Um, as you say, sometimes it feels, but I think that's a part of a business journey, isn't it? Once an entrepreneur, always an entrepreneur, and it's difficult to sit by and not do anything, especially when you see others are struggling and you have the tools and you know how to do it. You really want to help others. Yeah, so so I want to ask you a little bit of a personal question.
You
Uh,
go.
how do you define success?
Do you know, I was thinking about that because I knew that you would probably ask me something like that. I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking, what is infinite success? Infinite success is the old, the analogy of people having all their ducks in the row. And I certainly don't have my all my ducks in a row, and but such. But for me, success is. Do you know what? Actually, success is waking up every day. This is a privilege for all of us. Any of us that get to live another day, when so many people don't get that privilege, that to me is success. The success is I get to have a do-over, I get to have another day, and how I navigate that day, or what I do in that day.
Mm,
So for me, it's a bit hard to define success for me, but success is the fact that I have a lot of things that so many people don't have. I switch a light on. I can pull clean water from the tap. I can pay my bills. So that for some people that might mean I'm super successful. Do I drive a sports car and have gazillions in the bank? No, I don't. But that's not how I define
no,
success.
no.
Success is being able, if you like, to sleep at night knowing I've done my best to serve my community, that I've done my best in terms of being a good parent, even though our children are grown up. Our children still have still have needs and wants and need support.
Of course.
Success is having a long marriage, But whether that's business or whether it's a marriage, none of this is linear. Anybody who thinks that you get married and that's it, or you have a business and it's not. It's all the wibbly wobblies along the way and learning. So success is the ability to learn things, and what a privilege it is to learn along the way and be open to that. So that's a very messy way of saying success, but I like to, here I am talking to you. That's a bonus, and therefore that's success.
That's a success in itself. Yeah. I totally agree with you, and I love that what you said. It's messy, because success could be messy. We think if everything is in order and clean, then we are successful. But getting there, it could be very messy, and it could look very messy, and still be beautiful. Something
Exactly.
that is beautiful and that we have created could be success in itself. But yes, beautiful. It's a very nice way to put it. And we all have our own definitions. I've been doing this for a while, and I think 900% of the people, guests, have said that they don't define success by money,
Yeah.
how much money they have or how much materialistic stuff they have. Most of them have an answer like you had. But yeah, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And you have you're a mother, as you mentioned, and you are your wife and a business owner, and you give so much to your communities. I've seen either it is a digital community, and whenever we have met in any capacity, you have full focus on me. I mean, I feel very valued and taken care of and everything. So how do you manage your time? You do so many things, you have so many roles, you have so many responsibilities. So could you share with us, how do you manage your time?
Well, I would love to be able to tell you that I have all that sussed. I don't yet, but actually as we were saying earlier, I'm actually walking my talk, or talking my walk. We've got to the stage in our business where we have clients and we have a busy business, so we know we need to expand. So we're very busy. We're busy at the moment trying to bring some more people on board in order to help us. So in terms of time management, gosh, we serve an international community, and therefore we don't have what one might call a standard life in terms of what we do. Because if we're needed by a client in a different time zone or whatever, for example, if I can go to a meeting that is an Australian meeting and it's midnight for me, the chances are I'm not going to get up at 8 o'clock and have my breakfast. So for us, and I think it's a privilege because it is just us, we can tailor our world according to what we have on our agenda. And so that's what we do. So we very much focus on what we have and what we need to do in order to make that happen. And so therefore, you might get people saying, well, you need to be part of the 5 a.m. club and get up and reflect for an hour or meditate for an hour or whatever. I can't do that. But what I can do is subscribe to the fact that you need to factor in time for you and time to take a beat. And so when people say, Steve and I are a pair of introverts, which not many people realize, but they think we're noisy and gregarious, and I am noisy, but when I'm finished being noisy, I'm very, very quiet. So I think it's important to take that time to decompress. So anybody who says, well, I'm exhausted, I've had back-to-back Zoom meetings and whatever, with the greatest of respect, that's down to your bad planning. If you have made your life like that and you haven't built in time to grab a drink or to walk the dog or whatever that may be, then that really is on you. So we know our Monday to Friday, the typical working week, is going to be busy, but we do factor in time. We eat together. That's important for us to eat together. We have breakfast together and we have dinner together, and that's important. Our weekend, Saturday is it's our day for going out into town, going on the train, having a cup of coffee and having a movie on a Saturday night. So all of those things are important. And I think when you give yourself things to look forward to, then it's easy to manage what sometimes seems like the crazy hours. But nevertheless, there is no point in going to a meeting at midnight and expecting that you can get into a particular routine. So when people say, at a meeting, oh my goodness, there's Jennie Eriksen in Norway and it's 8 a.m. in Australia and it's midnight there, and gosh, I'm not going to be up the next morning at 8 o'clock. That I will, if I am awake, and I'll, probably be awake, I'm not at my best.
Yes.
So for me, it's about being on camera and showing up as my best, not subpar. So
And not make excuses, because as you say, if you're working until late night, then you will schedule in enough sleep and then eat and not schedule any meetings early morning that day. So it's your way of taking responsibility for how you're working and navigating that.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's good. Yeah. Um, so do you have some good routines that you want to share with us, to where you take care of yourself, your health, your mental health, your physical health, emotional health?
Good routines. Well, as mentioned, we always have breakfast together, and we're very blessed actually. We have a little balcony outside, so we can actually sit outside, and unless it's pouring with rain or it's freezing cold, then we will be out there. And I think that is a privilege, to actually start the day with nature, to have some food and to just chit chat a little bit and actually just enjoy outside. Up until last year, sadly, we lost our little dog who passed away. But for me, very much the walk of the day, the big walk of the day, was me and our little dog, which was lovely. I miss that very much. But being able to be out in nature, which of course, here in Norway, we're very blessed. You don't have to go very far at all before you're in some trees or you're in somewhere beautiful.
Yeah.
So I miss that very much, and especially this time of year. It's berry season. See, how sad I am. It's berry seasons. So you'd often find me, taking the dog for a walk and with a bowl and falling in the bush trying to grab some berries and stuff. But nevertheless, here where we live, we go out for a walk daily, again, just to clear our head, just to decompress. When you're serving people and you're showing up for people, it's important that you're showing up ready to listen and be the best you. So you have to build that time in, even though you've got so many things to do. That's super important to be able to do that. Routines, the weekend, we as I say, we always do something for us. And that's very important. And sometimes if we're chatting, we find ourselves talking about business, kind of like, oh, I knew you were going to break first. I mean, it's a fun thing. It's kind of like, which one of us is going to say it first? But nevertheless, that's what a Saturday will look like.
Is there
And
dollar in the jar for the person who breaks first?
yeah. And last time, actually, it was me, and I'm so.
Yeah. No, I also, when I went into business, we have a product-based business and family business. So when we went into that together, me and my husband, I said, okay, we have to schedule time when we're going to talk about that business, because I don't want that to be the only conversation we have. I mean, you guys are lucky, you both are introverts, right? But my husband is a very introvert, and I am an ambivalent, but mostly I'm more extrovert. But since I've been living with him, I've also become more introvert. And he has kind of budgeted how many sentences a day he's going to say. He doesn't talk much. So if he uses up all of those sentences in his work, that means less talking with me. It's like, yes, no, I don't know, whatever, we can eat whatever, there is not a long conversation. So I said to him, we have to schedule when we're going to talk about that business, because I don't want to spend the few sentences you say to me in the day to be about that business, because then it will kill all the romance the little romance that is left in our marriage, it will be gone too. So we kind of have a specific dates and days we actually can talk about it, and then we can be creative or discuss or whatever, and then it has to be. Yeah,
exactly.
Completely
agree. Exactly.
So that's it. Yeah. Okay, so there are many startups these days, and specifically now when people are struggling to earn money and a lot of people are without jobs, and they are finding that their side hustle could be their business, or there are a lot of people who are starting up with new creative ideas. What kind of advice would you give them? What would you have said to yourself like 30 years ago? What would be anything that you would guide them?
Very much today, our message to people, we both feel exactly the same, is start with the end in mind.
Mm-hmm.
Start with the end in mind. What is it you want to achieve with the whatever it is you're going to do? So, for example, when people make themselves a startup, they've worked in corporate Norway or corporate America or whatever, and they want to start a coffee shop, and they do all the things and make the coffee shop lovely and open the doors and imagine the people will come. And of course, with the best will in the world, that's not necessarily going to happen unless you plan ahead. So we say to people, very much start with the end in mind. What is it you want from this? And from there, it's about building strong foundations. And even though there is room for expansion, without those foundations in place, in order to sustain what it is you're wanting to do, then you're going to fall by the waysides. And so for a lot of people, we talk to, we say, well, what is it you want from this? And genuinely, even people that have been in business a long time, or they've changed the focus of their business, are kind of like, well, I don't really know. I just, and so that's very important. Do you want to do something and you want to keep it low key? Do you want to reach loads of people in the world? Do you want to grow a team? Do you want just to work 5 hours a day? What is it you want? And you have to be very definite. So even though somebody might have a business that you could scale, you could take literally from the kitchen table and scale, if that's not what somebody wants, then there's, so identifying what it is you're wanting from something, I think is essential. And being open to possibilities. I went to a networking meeting yesterday where there's a guy, he's a WordPress guy, and again, he's an introvert, and he wants to grow his business because what he does is he looks after people's WordPress sites, and they call him and say, could you do this, change this, or whatever. But he's getting to the stage where he wants to talk more about his business and grow his business, but he doesn't want to be the person that does that. So he never thought that this little I help people with WordPress sites would start to grow. And now he's a little bit discombobulated as to where he goes with this. Be sure if you've got something and it's something good, that there is a possibility that this could scale and go off the charts. So are you prepared for that? Is that something you want? Even if that's down to you making local jams, do you just want to go to the local market every week with your jams, or do you want to see them stocked in the grocery stores? What is it you want from this business? And so that's more than anything, that's an important question to ask yourself. What do I want from this? Where do I want this to go? And am I open to the idea that it might just stay a small low-key business, or am I open to the fact that as a VA, I might end up with too many clients, and then I'm going to have a VA team and employ people? And so, yeah, it's a fundamental, simple question, but it's not necessarily one that you can answer immediately without some reflection and thinking about what that might look like.
Nice, amazing. Thank you so much, Jennie. Thank you so much for sharing your time, your wisdom with us, and amazing. Thank you so much. You are just glowing, and I love your energy, and I really am appreciative for you sharing your time with us. So
thank you so much. Love spending time with you. Thank you.
So people, if you want to connect and know more about the amazing platform that Jennie and her husband have created, then go into the social media links that we will share with this video, and she will definitely be there and answer your questions. She is an amazing woman, and as you can see, she will just open her arms and welcome you into the community. It's an amazing community also on Facebook that you should check out. So yeah, until next time, take care of yourself and be kind to yourself and to others.